This is the fish series. When I was doing the fish, it's just all, everywhere I'd go somewhere, I'd kind of come up with what I wanted to do.
It took him 50 years, but artist Ben Peabody is doing what he always wanted to do full time.
So all the things I've ever done, I wish I'd have done this from the first grade on and never veered away, because it was a true passion and it was a natural skill that I had. You know, I didn't have to work at it, it just came.
Success came early. He won his first art contest in first grade.
It was my family going to Falls River, and it was a painting of us going over the bridge. And won the award. It went to the state capitol and was shown in the old state capitol for years.
Wow.
And so that kind of probably said, you know, you got a little talent here. You do better in this than you do spelling, because you, you don't spell very well, so at least you can draw.
By 8th grade, he was drawn to trouble too.
I snuck some whiskey to school. My dad was president of the school board, so it was a really nice example to set if your dad's the president of the school board. And we drank it at recess with me and some other kids, and it was kind of like, wow, I knew exactly when I drank it, it changed me. I became, from the little introvert, I became the extrovert. I could talk to girls, I could talk to guys, I could be as popular as the sport figures or the guys that were football players and everything else. It was like, yes sir, this is working for me. And it was kind of like I knew from then on that that worked, and I continued to use it because it kind of brought me out of my little introvert shell to a different personality.
It also got him suspended.
I kind of thought I would learn my lesson, but I didn't. You know, it was once what was planted in my mind that it worked and the addiction was there.
His addiction exacerbated in college.
And I was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm just drinking. Everybody drinks. You know, it's the manly thing to do. Nothing wrong with that. It's just that everyone didn't drink a case or a fifth every time they drank. So, you know, I should have known there was a little abuse there. I wasn't just doing the normal college drinking.
Ben graduated with a degree in art education, but his dad encouraged him to go into politics.
He was on the school board 32 years here. It was Ben Peabody. He had a service station up in North Baton Rouge, which was real popular. It was kind of a political hangout, kind of like a Walmart before Walmart.
Okay.
For a service station. He sold guns, fishing tackle, he sold boats, he sold outboard motors, he sold lawnmowers.
Oh my goodness.
It was a little bit of everything, but it was actually an Esso service station.
Okay.
And my dad used to have these really humorous ads that everyone in Baton Rouge seemed to remember about hip boot, knee boot, Japanese boot. You can get, you know, you can get your, bring your Esso, to pronounce it that way. So a lot of the men and politicians hung out there, and so it was always, it was right in front of the plant. If you worked at the plant, you came over because he was open from 6 to 10. And so you can depend on Ben, was one of his other sayings. So it was a, you know, a neat place, and so he was involved with politics very much so. And so he encouraged me to kind of follow in the footsteps, and I had a chance to go to work for Woody Dumas when I was young, and that kind of set it off for me. I started enjoying it, and then later, you know, ran for the council, served on the council, and then later worked in government for, you know, different governors here in Louisiana.
In politics, alcohol continued to be Ben's crutch to disguise the introvert inside until he lost what he loved most.
My wife left me, and I tried to have her committed because I thought she was lost her mind for leaving someone as wonderful as me.
I left Ben because I felt like my life was becoming more narrow and more suffocating. Actually, I didn't realize particularly that he had a drinking problem. That's kind of bizarre now, but at the time I didn't necessarily think that was the cause of just, you know, my marriage not being what I wanted it to be, and me working at it, me trying and all of that. I was raised in the 50s. We grew up with our parents having a cocktail hour at 5:30, and you know, you could have Bloody Marys on Sunday with brunch and things like that. It was part of socializing. It was a big part of socializing. When Ben would drink in the evenings, then I thought that was social hour.
But over time, the drinking left their relationship bone dry.
I just had gotten to the point where this is not what I want my life to be, and I was 38. I just said, I'm done. I feel manipulated and controlled.
When I tried to call her parents and her friends and say we need to have Ouija committed because she's lost her mind, I think it was a wake-up call. One of her friends said, Ben, why don't you go look in the mirror and see who you think has the problem? And I actually did that. And I went and looked in the mirror and I did, oh my God, it's not her, it's me. And so that was my wake-up call. Went down to see Chris Andrews at First Methodist Church. He said, you ought to try an AA meeting. I said, I have no idea what they are, but I will go because I think it would be something that might help get my wife back.
He hasn't had a drink since, almost 30 years. After he put down the bottle, he picked up his paintbrushes more often. He got out of politics and into something even fishier.
I bought the fish from Ralph and Kaku's, didn't even catch it. Don Gerald sold it to me for $40.
He took it straight to his former art teacher, Frank Hayden.
He said, and what are you going to do with it? I said, I want to make a mold of it because I'm going to start painting these things. And I said, I'm not quite sure which way I'm going with it, but just help me make a mold. So we made a mold, we cast it right there. I actually have the cast back over there, that fish.
Fish sticks only an artist could imagine, but this fish tail gets bigger.
Well, I'll just do one fish and one big redfish, and then it started, well, I'll do a trout, and then it just materialized to where I started doing all the fish. And so people started bringing me fish and wanted it named, say his name, Rick Richardson here, who had Rage Hair Salon. His son Alex caught a fish, a trout, and they brought it to me. They said, we want you to do one. This is the Alex. So we were selling the Alex for a long time, you know, not his fish exactly the way it was painted, but in different styles. And you know, what fish is this? So this is the Alex, and this is the Tommy, this is the Wanda and Larry.
People were hooked on his art. So were his students in his BRCC art class. Ben felt ready to quit work and work on his art career, a risky move at a perilous time. His wife was battling breast cancer.
She was like, oh my goodness, she says, you're giving up all your livelihood to be a full-time artist. That's a big jump.
At that point, Ben said, I'm going to quit my job and become a full-time artist. Of course, I'm totally terrified at the point I'm going, okay, jump off the cliff with me, because that's what it feels like. It's truly terrifying.
It was a big step, but it worked out in the long run, and so we never know that when we do that.
Ben is very motivated about whatever Ben sets out to do, he accomplishes it. And he can succeed, he can sabotage, it's whatever he feels like doing, but he's good at it.
He's gifted at supporting others. At BRCC, he helped students with sobriety. He encouraged them to express themselves in their art, and Ben led the way in what's become his addiction series.
And it's progressed over, the time, and it's where I have this 34-piece series on addiction that, I'm not trying to sell, I'm just trying to let people know that we have problems, not just here in Baton Rouge, but all over. And there is a solution, and they can get out of that without dying or, winding up in prison. And so it's something that I really believe in strongly. And it's part of my education. It's like education. You're teaching someone, you're giving of yourself away. You're giving parts of yourself. You're giving what you've learned away. So that's what I enjoy. It's working. It's working for me.
His art gets people talking.
So they're all related to some type of addiction, and it's kind of like an addiction is an addiction, whether it's sex, whether it's drugs, whether it's whatever, it's gambling. I've done them all, and I've kind of met with all these people. So when I was able to meet with these people, I was able to do a piece of artwork about it.
Sharing their story, but protecting their privacy.
Without telling their name or who they are. And our stories are all similar. If we all look into it, we could say, I can find something similar in my story, in his story. And so that's why I'm enjoying doing these now, and I think I'll be doing them for quite a while, as long as I can keep hearing these amazing stories of recovery and people who have, thought they'd lost everything, and now the world seems to be going their way now, and it's all because of them, the hard work, and they're willing to change. They're willing to change the old behavior to become the new person, who they really are. And it's kind of like, I, for so many years, was a different person than the person I am now. And it was like, oh, wow, I wish I was this person all those years back then. Instead of being the fake person who was trying to fit in, trying to do who he thought, was the right thing.
You think it's what you were meant to do?
Well, you never know, but I mean, it seems to be kind of what my higher power is telling me to do right now.
He'll likely save even more lives by binding his addiction series into a new book.
Really, the book is just to try to make people aware of it. And I've had people already buy the book and then call me and say, my brother, son-in-law, somebody has a problem. Can you talk to them? And so, of course, I give them my name and they can call me. So it's already starting to work again, the things that we'd like for it to do.
Like the stunning, unique art that fills their home, no telling what's coming next.
It's just another journey, you know, in 2001, and there's probably still more journeys to come. So with Ben, it's always an experience. Stay tuned.